First part of a new investigative series into how the NYPD has embraced the use of tasers, especially against individuals experiencing a mental health crisis.
We live in a day when the first Muslim mayor of New York City and now the first Jewish speaker of the council are serving at the same time.
Julie Menin was unanimously elected as Speaker of the City Council today. She'll join us in studio to talk about the speakership and how she plans to deliver for New Yorkers. And we're following a developing story out of Minneapolis where a federal immigration agent shot and killed a woman during an ICE operation. For the best news, debate, and analysis of New York politics, join us inside City Hall. Good evening and welcome to Inside City Hall for Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. I'm Errol Lewis. We begin tonight with an investigative series you'll only see on New York One. Over the last 10 years, the use of tasers by the NYPD has skyrocketed, especially against people who are having a mental health crisis. The electronic weapons have been billed as a safer alternative for police instead of guns, but our investigative reporter Courtney Gross has found that it's not always that simple. She uncovered instances where the NYPD tasers have been misused, ineffective, and on several occasions fatal. She joins me now to introduce the first part of her series called Shocked, How the NYPD Embraces Tasers. Good evening, Courtney.
Good evening, Errol. And when you look at the numbers, they are actually quite shocking. The number of taser discharges that have occurred over the last decade have actually tripled from 10 years ago. So we wanted to examine how safe and effective these weapons actually are, and our investigation uncovered potential cases of misuse and one fatality the NYPD never disclosed.
The place he died, from all the taser, they pick up all of them, but they miss one.
Athanasia Zapantis kept the wire.
Why did you keep it?
Memories. Bad memories, but...
It is evidence from the night her son died.
I can't sleep anymore. I kept thinking of him. Every single day. All the times. Why they kill him?
It was June 2020. George Zapantis, who was 29 years old and diagnosed with bipolar disorder, was dressed as a gladiator with a sword, an activity his mother says he did from time to time, hearkening back to his family's heritage in Greece.
Just step back with the sword.
He had gotten into a dispute with a neighbor. A bystander called 911.
Whatever you have on you.
The police came to the house.
Somebody go taser.
No. Can you turn around?
Can you just turn around for me? But you can't come out the way you came out.
Yeah, but you guys, look at you. Look at your waist, bro.
Did you see me touching my...
Things escalated.
Get down.
Come on.
Get back.
Get back.
Come on, bro. Come out right now, bro.
Gotta stop. Stop.
Over the next several minutes, tasers were used by the NYPD at least 4 times.
Stop. Resist. Get down. Get down. Get down on the ground. Get down. Just stop.
And then Zapantis went still.
I'm trying to see.
Yeah, he's got a pulse.
Zapantis had gone into cardiac arrest and died.
I don't think it's fair for any mother to go through like that. And I never wish to anybody.
Get down on the ground. Oh,
According to an investigation from the state attorney general's office, 2 officers used their electrical weapons on Zapantis simultaneously.
Put your hands behind your back and stop.
Finding his total exposure time to a taser was about 35 seconds. That's more than twice the maximum time the NYPD recommends.
Arm. Aim. Threat. Taser, taser, taser.
NYPD training material obtained by New York One through the state's Freedom of Information law warns against multiple taser discharges. And even the NYPD's patrol guide says exposing someone to a taser for more than 15 seconds can increase the risk of serious injury or death.
It's not a good thing to use the taser at all. And especially if they did to him so many times. They tasered him all over.
In a statement to New York One, an NYPD spokesman said the Attorney General's investigation found the officers in this case were, quote, legally justified in their actions. An NYPD internal investigation also found, quote, the officers' actions were within department guidelines.
Put him down.
According to the city's medical examiner's office, there have been at least 3 police-involved deaths in the last 10 years where a taser was a contributing factor. In these cases, the NYPD has classified these deaths as medical. The medical examiner's office has called them all homicides. No criminal charges have been brought in any of these cases. The most recent death, Adrian Ceballos, who according to the medical examiner's office had schizophrenia, was shot with a taser by police outside of his home in August of 2024 and later died from cardiac dysrhythmia. His death has not been disclosed until now. The NYPD has not released any body camera video in that case. For months, New York One investigated how the NYPD has used its conducted electrical weapons, commonly referred to by their brand name, tasers. In the last decade, the NYPD has more than tripled its usage, turning to the weapon more frequently, especially against people in mental health crisis. Through the state's Freedom of Information law, New York One obtained more than 730 reports detailing incidents when the NYPD deployed tasers on people in mental health crisis in 2022 and 2023. In many of these instances, the NYPD officers say they deployed their electrical weapons because the person was resisting handcuffs, refusing transportation to a hospital for psychiatric evaluation, or they were tensing up their body. Taser's own product safety warning highlights certain groups who may be particularly susceptible to the electrical weapon, like those profoundly agitated or under the influence of drugs. The NYPD acknowledges this includes people who are having a mental health crisis.
Does the NYPD think that people in mental health crisis falls within that particularly susceptible individual definition?
It can. It depends on the individual, him or herself, of course, right? The susceptible individuals that the department and even Axon Enterprise recommend you try not to use the taser on would include, obviously, pregnant women, children, elderly, and even people who will have a very low body mass index. Less than a chance.
Axon Enterprise is Taser's parent company. They have not responded to repeated requests for comment for this story. In a statement, an NYPD spokesperson said any use of force during mental health calls only occurs 1% of the time. Tasers are used in just a tiny fraction of these overall incidents. Still, the deployment of these electrical weapons against Zapantis and others proved to be fatal. In other cases New York One examined, the tasers didn't work at all. According to New York One's investigation in 2022, a taser did not work on its first attempt in 35% of incidents involving someone in mental health crisis. The following year, in 2023, in 29% of cases, the taser did not work on the first try. And while about a quarter of cases involve someone violent with a weapon, in 2023, New York One's investigation found 73% of the people in these incidents were not listed as having a weapon and were unarmed.
You can see that
officials at the NYPD say tasers are a useful tool if deployed correctly.
At the end of the day, the accuracy or the efficacy of any of the force options is really up to the individual officers. So how well they use the individual tools they have on them will dictate the efficacy of the force that they decide to use at that particular moment.
You want this?
Sometimes that means the probes do not penetrate thick clothing, or the wires break or aren't spread far enough apart, or the officers just miss entirely.
Shoot the taser ass back! Shoot the taser ass!
Still, NYPD officials say it's a tool worth using if someone is aggressive or resisting.
Taser, taser, taser.
If the officers are presented with those two situations, that act of aggression or that act of resistance, if you will, a taser is an option that the officer is allowed to use. Make safe, break the wires, recover.
Essentially, it feels like you're being burned from the inside out. So I used...
Angelique Korthals is a forensic pathologist and anthropologist, biomedical researcher, and professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
Through the skin. It's two wires under heavy compression that are sent out very fast. They're electrical wires that are attached to two harpoon-like devices, little sort of hooks, that hit the individual and deliver a 20 to 50,000 volt electric shock. What happens to the individual at that point is their central nervous system gets disrupted.
That disruption can be incapacitating. But in some cases, she says, the person's mental state can dramatically affect how a taser works.
The extreme psychosis has shown actually that the adrenaline level were heightened in the case of the tasing and actually caused cardiac arrhythmia rather than causing the disruption in the CNS, which is the prescription of the taser. In the lower scale psychosis, interestingly enough, we've seen that the taser is not as effective indeed.
So the Taser 10?
In December, the NYPD began piloting a new model, the Taser 10. The old model emitted up to 50,000 volts, while the new model has a much lower voltage, less than 1,000. Experts, including Officer Chu, who has firsthand experience, say it's still effective.
Taser, taser, taser.
It has more probes that shoot individually, meant to be more accurate.
It gives them more control over the spread of the darts.
They start tasing him.
Of course, there are some who hope there will be a bigger shift to not use them at all.
That's my opinion. They took my son, they took my son's life away. They took everything from us.
And of course, the NYPD says tasers are useful tools that can help them de-escalate situations and can mean that the NYPD officer in the situation does not resort to a higher level of force, meaning a gun. Errol.
So in a lot of the cases that you're talking about, or about a third of them, it seems like a pretty stable number. It's simply not effective, right?
Yeah, and that's on the first attempt, when they first take out the taser and discharge the weapon. I examined 730 of these reports specifically to mental health calls. It took us many, many months to read them, review them, categorize them, and statistically analyze them to see how effective they really were.
And so on the one hand, a first use or first discharge may not be effective, but multiple discharges can be medically problematic or even fatal.
Yeah, and that was what we saw in the case of George Cepantis, obviously. I mean, he was tased or shot with a taser by two different officers simultaneously. I mean, the NYPD literature, the patrol guide, is quite clear that you really shouldn't be exposing someone to this weapon unless it's an extreme circumstance for more than 15 seconds. And Cepantis, in his case, he was exposed to 35 seconds worth of electricity from the taser, clearly resulting, at least the medical examiner's office has said, it was a contributing factor to his death.
It's really striking what a wide range of discretion the officer in the moment seems to have as far as the NYPD patrol guide is concerned.
It's really up to them. I mean, I went and asked and tried to cite specific cases about whether this was an appropriate use of the taser. I've watched tons of body camera footage that we've received through the Freedom of Information Law, through the Civilian Complaint Review Board, where you have someone in a psychiatric episode and a schizophrenic episode in some cases, and they're being, taken out to an ambulance, and somehow it escalates. They resist. They tense up their body is the language that they often use, and that gives the NYPD, in their mind, the reason to tase someone with an electric current.
What's coming up in the next part of the series?
So we're going to be taking a look specifically at the death of Adrian Ceballos, which was not disclosed by the NYPD, and the medical examiner has called a homicide and said that
Tasing was part of his death, which occurred in August of 2024. We speak to his family, and you'll hear about that tomorrow.
Okay, thanks very much, Courtney. We will bring you part 2 of Courtney's series tomorrow night, right here on Inside City Hall. And you can see the full series at ny1.com or the Spectrum News app. We're going to take a short break now, and when we come back, the City Council unanimously elected Julie Menin as its next speaker, elevating her to one of the most powerful positions in city government. We'll bring you those details next.
Every day tells a new story. At Mornings on One, we're dedicated to bringing you the stories that matter most to start your day. With in-depth coverage of the day's news.
I'm Pat Kernan. Here are the stories we're following.
And weather updates every 10 minutes.
Tomorrow, some morning sunshine possible. Clouds take over.
It's our responsibility to get you the information you need before you head out the door. Mornings on One. Weekdays starting at 6 on the Spectrum News app. Free for Spectrum and Xfinity customers.
Spectrum TV, isn't that only live TV?
No, it's only all my favorite streaming apps with live TV.
Okay.
It's only all included at no extra cost, and that's the magic of math. Will this be on the test? Sure. Why not?
It's only one simple payment for all our TV. We gotta simplify and win. Winning is equally important.
If not, more so.
Yeah!
Only Spectrum TV, fixed TV.
I'm Sandra, this is Jorge, and we were adopted in 2019. I remember when they first came to us, Michael was already a teenager. The whole cliche of they're so lucky to have you guys, and it's the other way around. They have changed our family for the better. They chose to love us. They didn't have to. They chose us. Family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
And that's a look at some of what's in the papers this morning. You done with the sports section?
Today's story is about the latest chapter for a beloved local business.
It's a beautiful day with temperatures in the 60s, but showers are expected in the next hour.
In a city that's always on the go, it's important to stop to hear the stories that connect us.
The news that matters to New Yorkers. That's what brings us together. That's Mornings on One.
Weekdays starting at 6.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. The City Council officially has a new speaker, Julie Menin. The Manhattan lawmaker won in a unanimous vote today to become the first Jewish speaker of the council. Our Kelly Menin was in the chambers for the vote and joins us now with the latest. Good evening, Kelly.
Good evening, Errol. And the City Council met today to turn on more than just the lights at their first meeting. They also chose their new leader.
The council has duly elected Councilmember Julie Menin as the Speaker of the City Council.
It's a new year, a new mayor, a new city council, and there's a new speaker, too. In a unanimous vote, Councilwoman Julie Menin was elected the next speaker of the city council.
Thank you for the trust, for the faith, for the confidence that you have placed in me to be your speaker.
Menin is the first Jewish speaker to lead the 51 council member body. She noted the importance of serving alongside the city's first Muslim mayor.
What will write this interfaith leadership into the history books is if it can act as an opportunity for all of us to come together, to calm tensions, to bridge divides, and to recognize we are one city.
The Manhattan councilwoman wiped out her competition in the race back in November when she announced she had secured the support of 35 current and incoming members. Her top rival, Councilmember Crystal Hudson, had these words of encouragement on Wednesday.
Strong people don't need strong leaders, but they do need leaders willing to share power. My hope is that in the next 4 years, we will lead with collaboration and innovation and never lose sight of who we are here to serve. Congratulations, Speaker Menin.
The Republican members of the council used their votes as an opportunity to call on Menin to be a check on Mayor Zohran Mamdani's administration.
Here in New York City, the legacy of our founding generation, which is grounded in individual liberty, property rights, and the free enterprise system, is being threatened by the smothering heat of collectivism.
On behalf of middle-class homeowners, small landlords, parents of children in gifted and talented programs, Jewish New Yorkers, and yes, people who still think capitalism is a good thing, I believe they're counting on this council and on the new speaker to be a voice for them.
Menin described her vision for the future that included ending no-bid contracts, reducing fines for small businesses, bringing down health care costs, and for the council to take a more proactive approach at getting affordable housing built. When it comes to Mayor Mamdani's policy goals, Menin believes the council can be the most helpful in getting universal child care done.
What levers of power do we have where we can actually help to pay for universal child care, which is one of our top priorities?
And next on the agenda for the new council speaker, we'll be picking members to chair key committees. Our sources tell us that Kevin Riley is set to get the Land Use Committee, that Eric Dinowitz is set to get the Education Committee, and Councilmember Linda Lee is set to get Finance, Errol.
And what was the mood like in the council chambers today?
Very celebratory. We saw many of the former speakers there, Corey Johnson, Adrian Adams, Melissa Mark Viverito, some former council members. Everybody was pretty congratulatory. I thought maybe there would be a moment of surprise, but not anything that we weren't expecting.
And the Republicans, despite the misgivings that they have to express when they're speaking publicly, they cast their votes in favor of this too.
Yes, and they're pretty excited about Menin. You know, when it came to the candidates that were in the race, they felt like she more aligned with what their priorities will be going into this session and is a more moderate candidate in comparison to some of the progressives that were in that race. So they feel like they won in this as well.
Okay, thanks very much, Kelly. The new City Council Speaker, Julie Menin, will be joining me in just a few minutes. Right now, though, we're going to take a short break. And coming up, an ICE officer in Minneapolis fatally shot a U.S. citizen. We'll bring you those details straight ahead. Stay with us.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of going to the theater. Onstage celebrates that excitement every week by taking you behind the scenes with the latest news and in-depth interviews of the hottest shows on and off Broadway. So grab a seat, because this is a show you won't want to miss. Join us every Saturday and Sunday at 7:30 p.m. for Onstage.
Onstage is presented by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Discover which Cadillac is right for you and elevate your journey.
It's only a hike. It's only made possible by Spectrum Business connecting healthcare providers of all sizes. Like hospitals relying on the Spectrum Fiber broadband network with industry-leading reliability. Practices keeping patient data safe with advanced security. Pharmacies accessing records in the cloud without fail. It's tailored connectivity solutions built for life-changing moments. It's only a hike. It's only everything. Spectrum Business.
Mom was always organized, but she started forgetting to pay her bills on time.
And she'd buy the same gifts over and over. Telling the girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was really hard.
At first, we had our cries, but then we were like, okay, let's make a plan.
Early detection gave us time to adapt together. It's so important for you to think about what you can do and making the most of what you have.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
From my time growing up in Queens watching New York One to my time reporting here, I've seen how quickly a story can change. At News All Day, we bring you the news as it's happening, from around the boroughs to local government to your neighborhood. Because our city never stops moving.
Hi, I'm Shannon Ferry with the day's developing stories. But first,
stay up to date and informed with News All Day, weekdays from noon to 4.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. There is outrage in Minnesota tonight after a crackdown on immigration turned deadly in Minneapolis. Protests have erupted across the city after a woman was shot and killed by an ICE agent earlier today. But federal authorities are defending the incident, with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem calling it an act of domestic terrorism. The governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, is disputing that account and offering fierce criticism of the Trump administration's crackdown, and in fact is joining local officials in calling for ICE to leave the city. Our Chris Welsh is following the investigation and has the latest in this report.
In this graphic video posted to social media, an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer can be seen walking toward an SUV as it's stopped in the middle of the road. The officer tries to open the driver's side door. Seconds later, the car drives away, and a different officer standing near the front of the car fires at least twice toward the driver. The car then comes to a stop after crashing into parked vehicles along the curb.
It was an act of domestic terrorism.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem explaining it this way.
ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him.
President Trump adding on Truth Social that the female driver, quote, willfully and viciously ran over the ICE officer. A statement from a DHS spokesperson added that a violent rioter weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey not buying it.
That is bull.
Neither was the state's governor, Tim Walz.
I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough.
Shame! 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 The victim, according to Frey, a 37-year-old woman. Wednesday's shooting is the latest flashpoint in a series of immigration enforcement operations in major American cities under the Trump administration. Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota have been on edge since Homeland Security announced Tuesday it had launched an operation with more than 2,000 agents in a crackdown that is tied in part to allegations of fraud involving Somali residents.
To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Chris Welch, Spectrum News.
We're going to take a short break now. Coming up, the newly elected Speaker of the City Council, Julie Menin, will join me in studio to talk about her new role and what to expect from the City Council. Stay with us.
My time at New York One has shown me that in the city that never sleeps, the news never stops. So as the day winds down, turn to the rush hour.
Good afternoon, I'm Monica Burke.
To catch up on the stories that matter across the 5 boroughs, with in-depth interviews from the city's newsmakers, plus the latest forecast. Catching you up with today, preparing you for tomorrow. Right here on the Rush Hour. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m.
It's only a slice. It's only made possible by Spectrum, connecting businesses of all sizes, like small businesses, instantly serving up orders and inventory on the Spectrum Fiber broadband network. And factories, seamlessly connecting to farmers in the field with tailored solutions that always deliver. It's only a slice. It's only everything. Get your business free fiber-powered internet forever. Call to find out how.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. My service never stops.
At Spectrum Noticias, we recognize that our New York City community is vibrant and diverse.
Spectrum Noticias delivers balanced coverage of the stories that matter in our communities and across the country.
Our journalists are based in the neighborhoods we cover, ensuring you get in-depth reporting on what's happening in the places we call home.
So join us at Spectrum Noticias. We're always on, always there for you.
Now available on your TV. Check your local listings. Also available on the Spectrum News app.
By a vote of 51 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, the Council has duly elected Councilmember Julie Menin as the Speaker of the City Council.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. That was the moment earlier today that Councilmember Julie Menin was unanimously elected to be the next Speaker of the City Council. She joins me now to talk about her new role and much more. Welcome back to the program and congratulations.
Thank you, Errol. So great to be back with you in this new role.
Exactly right. So now what happens? How do you actually organize it now? There are lots of committees. You're going to be naming the members and the chairs of the various committees. How does that happen?
So basically on January 15th, which will be the next stated meeting, we will be announcing every single committee chair and then which members comprise each of the respective committees. The Rules Committee needs to ratify that, so that vote will happen the morning of the 15th. And I'm having one-on-one meetings with every single member in the coming days to continue the conversations around committees.
You were nominated by Kevin Riley, Councilmember Linda Lee, Councilmember Eric Dinowitz. Are they, should we read anything into that? Are they going to be chairing, finance, land use, and the other desirable committees?
They are all incredible members, and I look forward to making announcements on the 15th.
Okay. When it comes to naming people to committees, there have been times in the past where there are some members who have ended up not serving on any committee. What's the logic that you're going to be using to try and figure out who goes where?
Well, members should be serving on committees. I mean, when I started in the council, I was on 9 committees. I think, honestly, that's too many committees, because if you really want to have fulsome committee oversight hearings and be able to ask cogent questions, you can't be serving on 9 committees. It's too much. But with that said, we do need members on every single committee, and you really want to look at the experience of the member, what they're interested in, making sure we have diverse membership, that we have borough equity across the board. So there are many factors that go into it. We have so many incredible colleagues with great experience, so I want to tap into that unique experience as we select committee chairs.
Okay, so as you get the council organized, there's some unfinished business from the last administration. Yes. I'm thinking in particular of some of the 19 last-minute vetoes that the prior mayor, Eric Adams, signed, the bills that he killed on his way out the door. How are you going to handle those, and should we assume that you're going to be systematically trying to override those vetoes?
We are definitely going to be doing a significant number of overrides. With that said, there are several bills that did not have a supermajority of support, so we need to go back and look at them. We have new members. We need to see where the new members are on those bills that did not have a supermajority. But for those bills that did, of course, we will be doing a number of significant overrides. At the same time, Errol, we need to prioritize building affordable housing. That is one of the #1 priorities that we have as a council, and I want the council to be a proactive partner in building affordable housing. There are a couple bills that we're going to look at, speak with the respective members to make sure that we are not passing any bills that thwart the ability to build affordable housing. So I've started some of those conversations with the sponsors of those bills, and those conversations will continue, because the bottom line is we need to really jump charge the building of affordable housing in every community across New York City.
Mayor Mamdani has already named a couple of task forces and hired a number of commissioners in order to get started on that very important task. How do you rank things so far? I know it's early days on trying to figure out how and where you'll be able to work with him.
We have had very productive conversations to date. We have had several meetings where we've been able to substantively talk about the issues. There's a lot of commonality, obviously, about building affordable housing, enacting universal child care, which is something, honestly, the council's been working on for several years. We've passed numerous packages on this. Now, in partnership with the mayor and the governor, we look to make that a reality. I'm very focused on lowering skyrocketing health care costs. Medical debt is the leading cause of debt for New Yorkers. We created 2 years ago the Office of Healthcare Accountability, which will lower healthcare costs and finally bring transparency to opaque hospital pricing. So these are all issues where we can focus on the affordability agenda. I also, talked to him about other issues as well. I mean, one of the things that I want to focus on is consumer protection and protecting small businesses. I'm a former small business owner. The fees are too high for small businesses. We need to lower onerous fines across the board for fine assessing agencies. We need to cut through remove bureaucratic red tape so we make it easier for our small businesses to operate. And we also want to attract new businesses to our great city and at the same time have the strongest worker protections in the country.
Okay. When it comes to fast and free buses, is that something that will be on the council's agenda?
So we really don't have a role on fast and free buses. It's more of a state issue in terms of the funding. With that said, I happen to have the district that is the highest ridership, the M15, which snakes through my district. Obviously, we want the buses to be faster. That is something that I believe every single council member supports. In terms of the funding, it is going to be up to Albany to make that decision. It's obviously up to the governor and Albany to make the decision on the funding. But we do want to see expedited buses. A faster part is something that we, the council, can really push very much for.
We're going to get the governor's budget in just a few weeks from now. Is that something where you'll be sort of paying close attention right from the beginning, or are you going to wait to sort of see what rolls downhill and the city council has to deal with later in the spring?
Well, no, we plan on playing a big part of it. We plan on going up to Albany proactively many, many times. We have to be a partner in moving forward a lot of these issues at the city level, and so much depends on the state. With the Trump administration making just seismic, disastrous cuts, this is very concerning to childcare, to health care, to so many vital issues. And that's why, Errol, it's incumbent upon us as a city council to try to find savings in the city budget. So, for example, one of the areas I'm very focused on, as I mentioned, health care accountability. The new office we created could potentially save the city $2 billion if we harness our purchasing power as the second largest purchaser of healthcare in the entire state to drive down costs. So that's something I plan on being very actively involved in. Another area is no-bid contracts. No-bid contracts have been utilized by many administrations, and it really drives the cost up. There should always be competitive bidding. So I have a bill to eradicate the use of no-bid contracts beyond 30 days in an emergency, and that could save the city potentially billions of dollars as well.
Okay, we'll be keeping an eye out for that for sure. Back when you were putting forward your credentials about why you might want to be speaker, one of the things you talked about was a more proactive, maybe more aggressive use of the subpoena power of the city council, both within government and with private entities. Talking about government for just a minute, some of your members have indicated that they think that there's some unfinished business with the Eric Adams administration that might require council action. Is that something on your radar?
Absolutely. We need to retrospectively take a look back at what happened the last couple of years. Oversight, there's no oversight right now. Oversight is going to be looking back at the last couple of years. So many of the city agencies, Errol, have been gutted. So I used to work at the law department in a senior role. There is almost 1/3 vacancies at the city law department. How can these agencies truly function with this? The no-bid contracts I mentioned were constantly given out to various entities with little to no scrutiny oftentimes. So yes, we are going to have fulsome oversight, and we're going to take a look back. I'm also very interested in procurement reform. Why is it costing the New York City Parks Department $4 million to build a bathroom in a park? Why is it taking oftentimes up to a decade simply to renovate a park? That's absurd, and we need to look at that, and we really need to change that once and for all.
Okay, sounds like there are going to be some big changes. There are also going to be some little changes. I saw in City and State that you're a stickler for time, and you're going to actually start the meetings on time, which would be a first in my experience. I've only been looking at this stuff for about 40 years now.
We did. I think we need to respect everyone's time. Everyone's time is important. I'm a stickler for punctuality. We started the stated meeting at 12 today, which I was very happy about. And yes, we need to do that. People come to our hearings, they take off of work, they have childcare issues, they're coming, waiting hours just for the hearings. That's unacceptable. And for stated meeting, they will start in time. We're moving the land use and finance votes and moving them to the day prior. That will mean that things can move forward in a more timely fashion. So it's those little things that really matter. We have to respect everyone's time.
On behalf of Room 9, I think the reporters in City Hall will thank you for that as well. Well, best of luck with everything. We look forward to continuing the conversation. Thanks a lot.
Errol. Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to take a short break now. When we come back, Mayor Mamdani weighed in on the fatal ICE shooting in Minneapolis and made 2 appointments today. We're going to bring you those details in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
After 30 years of forecasting for New York, I've learned it takes a dedicated team to cover all the weather our city has to offer. As chief meteorologist at New York One, I'm honored to be able to help New Yorkers plan their day.
Morning, noon, or night, our team is here to bring you accurate forecasts you can count on, from severe weather updates to our weather on the ones. Watch the New York One weather experts with your weather on the ones, on your TV, and on the go with the Spectrum News app.
Your entertainment the way you want it. With Spectrum TV, all these streaming apps are included at no extra cost. So you can watch anything. Movies, series, sports, reality, news.
Here's a look at today's top stories.
Exclusive originals.
We await your orders.
And even more of your favorites with live TV. Stream across your devices and enjoy anywhere.
See you later.
Get it all with Spectrum TV.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
My father was a New York City firefighter. My mission, like his, is to serve New Yorkers in a city that doesn't stop when the sun goes down. Being with New York One since the beginning, I'm now honored to join you even earlier each weeknight. Starting at 8 with New York Tonight, we'll explore the latest news developments, followed by New York One at 10 to wrap up your day. So join me each weeknight starting at 8 right here on New York One.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Mayor Zohran Mamdani today responded to that fatal ICE shooting in Minneapolis, calling it murder. This came on a day that the mayor rolled out another new member of his administration and also defended a top housing official that he appointed just last week, a person who has come under scrutiny for her past statements about race and home ownership. Our Bobby Kuza has more on the mayor's busy day in this report.
The news coming out of Minneapolis is horrific.
Late Wednesday, Mayor Zohran Mamdani responded to the ICE shooting in Minnesota, writing on social media, "This morning, an ICE agent murdered a woman in Minneapolis, only the latest horror in a year full of cruelty." At a Q&A session with content creators and other non-traditional media, he affirmed New York's sanctuary city status.
We know that when ICE agents attack immigrants, they attack every single one of us across this country. And this is a city and will always be a city that stands up for immigrants across the 5 boroughs.
Earlier, Mamdani introduced his latest appointee, Christine Clark, a longtime civil rights attorney who will chair the city's Commission on Human Rights.
If you live here, you're a New Yorker, and I promise, as the chair of the Commission on Human Rights, to work with you and to fight for you.
The commission is a relatively low-profile body charged with enforcing the city's human rights law that has come under some criticism. A report last month from State Comptroller Tom DiNapoli found long delays and poor handling of housing discrimination cases, which the mayor highlighted as a priority.
I do think housing is one of the most critical examples, however, because what we've seen is a lack of interest from prior administrations in the question of following through on fighting this kind of discrimination.
As chair, it's my responsibility to get decisions out faster, which I intend to do immediately.
Mamdani also fielded questions about a different appointee, Sia Weaver, who was named head of the mayor's office to protect tenants last week. She's facing criticism for past statements, including one describing private property and home ownership as a weapon of white supremacy. She distanced herself from those statements on New York One's Inside City Hall.
Some of those things are certainly not how I would say things today, and are regretful.
Another Mamdani appointee, Kat DaCosta, resigned last month after past anti-Semitic tweets surfaced. But Weaver appears to have the mayor's full support.
The core issue at hand here is, what are we hiring this person to do? We are hiring them to stand up for tenants in a way that we haven't seen before, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Bobby Kuza, New York One.
It is time now for a break. Coming up, we'll talk more about Julie Menin assuming the role of City Council Speaker when I'm joined by my weekly politics panel. Stay with us.
We have so many ways to stay connected. A single touch can bring us closer to the families we love, the friends we know, and the city we share. And Spectrum helps us keep connected throughout the day, every day. Including more ways to watch New York One as a Spectrum Internet customer. Watch Spectrum News New York One on the Spectrum News app, available on all your favorite devices.
There's an international travel plan with Spectrum that was an additional $10 a month as opposed to paying a ridiculous amount per day for roaming fees. This literally felt like my old phone carrier was reaching their hand into my wallet and just helping themselves to some of my cash. I like having no surprises when it comes to my cell phone bill. And with Spectrum, that's been the case. So it's saved me a ton of money.
Real customers, real savings. To see how much you can save, visit spectrum.com/save.
Every day tells a new story. At Mornings on One, we're dedicated to bringing you the stories that matter most to start your day. With in-depth coverage of the day's news.
I'm Pat Kernan. Here are the stories we're following.
And weather updates every 10 minutes.
Tomorrow, some morning sunshine possible. Clouds take over.
It's our responsibility to get you the information you need before you head out the door. Mornings on One. Weekdays starting at 6 on the Spectrum News app. Free for Spectrum and Xfinity customers.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. We heard from the new City Council Speaker, Julie Menin, earlier in tonight's program. She vowed to focus on affordability issues that are facing New Yorkers. Joining me now to talk about her new role and much more is my politics panel. Christina Greer is a New York One political commentator and a Fordham University professor, as well as a co-host of the FAQ NYC podcast. And joining us, as he does every Wednesday, is New York One political commentator Gerson Barrero. Thank you both for being here. What do you make of what's going to happen? She gave us a lot of stuff that I think you probably already anticipated, but her relationship with Mamdani in particular, is it going to be contentious? Is it going to be cooperative? What's your sense of that?
She's very astute. She's very, how should I say? She's very well-mannered in the way she deals with things. Look at how she able to, wrangle all these 51 votes before. I criticized the fact that she was, claiming herself to wrap it up, and she used tactics that I had not seen before. Nothing illegal, just the manner in which she coerced people and all that. She never put in a call to threaten anyone, but they had union, and I got names, guys, and from Gregory Meek's camp, so you can imagine who called. So they were making calls on that, but she handled it well. And they resolved it down in Somos. Somos is now turned into a political convention, but that's not Julie. Julie, you're doing okay so far.
Well, I mean, I don't like this framing of because we have our first Muslim mayor, we need a Jewish speaker. We've had Jewish mayors before. We didn't need a Muslim speaker. So I don't really like that framing that sort of is out there. I do think it is interesting. We're thinking about the inauguration speeches. I said this on FAQ. I think Jumaane and Mamdani can be a tag team, and it feels as though Menin might actually be the foil to the two of them in a progressive message moving forward. Hopefully Mamdani and Menin can move forward, but don't forget, she represents 51 members, so it's not just about her personal feelings and how she wants to deal with the mayor. She actually has to represent the body as well, and there are quite a few progressives who will uphold some of the Mamdani mandates.
Very true. Oh, let's talk about Sia Weaver, the mayor's appointee to run the office for tenant protection. She's been criticized over past tweets saying things like seize private property and calling home ownership a tool of white supremacy. Here's a little bit of how she explained it to me yesterday.
I don't think I'm out of my mind. Okay. I think that Some of those things are certainly not how I would say things today, and are regretful. But you know, I do think my sort of decades of experience fighting for more affordable housing sort of stands on its own. I'm proud to be in this role, fighting for stronger tenants' rights, and I think that for many years people have been locked out of the property market. That has produced a lot of systemic and racial inequalities in our system, and I want to make sure that everybody has a safe and affordable place to live, whether they rent or own, and that is something that I'm laser focused on in this new role.
Do you think the mayor will continue to stand behind her? You know, even if you fired her, it's not like the people who are criticizing him are going to suddenly come around, right?
Right. I mean, we're in such a new era of politics in the sense that so many people who are entering politics, whether as politicians or in support staff in these important roles, grew up in many ways on social media. So this idea of like the no drama Obama era is very different. That's almost 20 years ago. So there are going to be a lot of people where, you know, there might be pictures of them in unsavory outfits. There may be tweets that they have made or some sort of post that they've either supported or put up themselves, where I think in a 21st century building of an infrastructure, I think we might see people say, well, that was then, and we actually need to focus on the work that they want to do now. The difference is, because we have such a young mayor, when we say like, oh, well, you said that then, it's like, well, there's a difference between saying something 20 years ago and 2 years ago.
24 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, exactly, and I'll take that to heart. At 75, believe me, if there had been videos then of all the crap I did, I wouldn't be here right now. You'd be all putting us in memes and all that. So come on, let's give it a. But I just, you know, when I saw the interview yesterday, and now that I hear it again, she's decades of experience. I mean, she could be my granddaughter. So, you know, so don't go on that route, just on your experience. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. The mayor wants you. We got to give the mayor the people that he thinks he needs to fight this fight at all levels. And if that's her experience, and the press, the New York Post in particular, who is trying to find that rag of Rupert Murdoch, you should all be ashamed. I mean, assaulting a person like that, give her a break. And if she cried, I'd probably throw something at you if you come to my house. Damn, it's like nasty. Give her a break, man. They're trying to find something that she did anti-Semitic, to your point, doctor. It's like, leave them alone. They're going to screw up on serious things, not this nonsense.
I should mention that she's my guest on my podcast. We normally have it come out on Thursday morning, but it's out right now. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on New York One. Our website, the app, and everywhere else, because we had a longer conversation about the housing crisis, which is what really people should be focusing on, not some old tweets. The city saw record low levels of shootings and homicides and traffic deaths last year. Here's a little bit of what yesterday's Victory Lap press conference looked like.
These numbers showcase a police commissioner, an executive team, and a department that are delivering for New Yorkers. And also, as the commissioner has said, as well as the governor has said, we cannot rest on these results. We have to build on these results.
If they keep up the numbers, will Mamdani get credit for these things that the Adams administration set in motion?
No. No, they won't give him credit, because then they're going to throw out the fact that it's already in play by the criminal in chief in the White House and his goons and his thugs. They started that whole thing. They're the ones with ICE out there arresting people that isn't. That's what they're going to attribute to, that it's the national trend. And quite frankly, they have a point to a certain part, because crime did start going down last year. And it was, of course, because of the ICE raids. A lot of our own people, they just, you know, they're not being seen, and there's other things not going on. I'm not saying they're committing the crimes, but some of it is that. No, he's not going to get the credit.
I think, you know, it depends on the framing of the press. I think that how Mamdani actually sort of maintains it, right? If those numbers not just maintain themselves, but also continue to go down. I mean, as I said in my op-ed in the Times last week, I think that history will be kinder to Eric Adams. I mean, record lows. Yes, we can think about national trends, but like New York City is still 8.5 million people. To your point, we do have a lot of people who are kind of in the shadows. It's also winter right now. I mean, like we're seeing sort of larger national conversations. But I think the larger issue that I'm looking at is Mamdani was very clear when he campaigned. I don't really care about your personal politics on this particular issue. If I hire you for sanitation, if I hire you for environmental protection, if I hire you for transportation, if I hire you for policing, all the other stuff is over there. I need you to be good at the thing that I've hired you for. And so, like, the distractions with Jessica Tisch and some of her geopolitical leanings, I think is also this conversation that is a distracting for the work that actually is being done and needs to still be done.
Governor Hochul attended yesterday's press briefing on the crime numbers And she recently took a victory lap on a different topic, which is congestion pricing, the one-year anniversary of that program. It's a reminder that she is about to unveil her priorities and her budget and prepare for re-election in the next 6 months. Is the alliance with Mamdani going to help her or hurt her, do you think?
Well, that remains to be seen. I mean, let's see. You know, I'm looking at Mamdani on a separate pedestal. I'm looking at him through a different scope because that's the only way you can. He has new ideas. He campaigned on something that was very specific to a specific population within New Yorkinos. But we have to wait and see. And I don't know, she's got to win on her record, not on anybody else's. It could help her, the endorsements from Tish James and other people, but she's going to have to win on her say. By the way, she was saying, oh, I got more cops when they said about the subway crime. I got more police officers, and I'm going to keep paying overtime. Well, there's a lot of people, Governor, that you should check with that saying that paying overtime doesn't make sense, including cops who are being hurt by the way this is being run. So be careful what you say.
I think it'll help her in the long run. She needs the Mamdani momentum, not just for, I think, what will be a relatively easy primary in June, but she needs folks to actually bother to come out in November. I mean, yes, it'll be a midterm election, so there'll be lots of other people on the ballot, but a lot of our New York City action will be in June, so you still need people to feel motivated to come out in November. The president won't be at the top of the ticket, so I think she still needs kind of some of that galvanization and that energy that Mamdani is presenting. And we know that New York is very purple, New York State, purple to red in a lot of ways, so she can at least mobilize the blue parts and say, I've worked with your mayor on these progressive issues, whether it's childcare, but childcare isn't a progressive issue. Millions of New Yorkers, whether they are conservative, moderate, or liberal-leaning, will benefit from some of these things.
Do you think
I
it's
the
transferable?
framing,
Do you think that kind of support is transferable from Mamdani to her?
I think if you frame it, now that remains to be seen, Kathy Hochul, if you can frame some of these ideas that have been branded as progressive, but they're not necessarily progressive issues, they help all working class and middle class New Yorkers and Americans.
If what he wants to do in the city gets done statewide, then it'll be politically helpful to her, no question about that. Thank you so much. Great to see you. Christina Greer, good to see you. Herson Barrero, that is going to do it for tonight's show. Thanks so much for watching and have a great evening. We'll see you next time inside City Hall.
And that's a look at some of what's in the papers this morning. You done with the sports section?
Today's story is about the latest chapter for a beloved local business.
It's a beautiful day with temperatures in the 60s, but showers are expected in the next hour.
In a city that's always on the go, it's important to stop to hear the stories that connect us.
The news that matters to New Yorkers. That's what brings us together. That's Mornings on One.
Weekdays starting at 6.
Your entertainment the way you want it. With Spectrum TV, all these streaming apps are included at no extra cost. So you can watch anything.
Hey, brother, be careful.
Movies.
I've got this condition where I don't feel pain.
You're a superhero.
No. Series.
There's another murder in the building.
Sports. Reality.
Here's to a summer you'll never forget.
News.
Here's a look at today's top story.
Exclusive originals.
You await your orders.
Even more of your favorites with live TV.
Welcome into First Take.
Stream across your devices and watch anywhere. At home or out and about. It's the entertainment experience you've been waiting for. Streaming apps included at no extra cost.
What's got that, pal? Get a good look.
With live TV and on demand. All together, all in one place for you to enjoy.
It's whatever kind of adventure we want it to be.
Get it all with Spectrum TV.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of going to the theater. Onstage celebrates that excitement every week by taking you behind the scenes with the latest news and in-depth interviews of the hottest shows on and off Broadway. So grab a seat, because this is a show you won't want to miss. Join us every Saturday and Sunday at 7:30 p.m. for Onstage.
Onstage is presented